welcome to the Way Show. My name is Wole. Apologies for coming to you late. It was just due to some technical problems we've been facing for a little while, but thankfully we're on the show, and it's so nice to be with you today. Yes, it's the Way Show. If it's the first time you're watching us, you know what to do. Subscribe to the show, and please also like our previous or past editions on this show. Okay, it's the Way Show. Comes to you every Sunday at 8 o'clock. Yeah, like I said. Sorry, we're a bit late today. Okay, so today we've got someone really special. He's a man of first. You know, he's someone who is really very well known in African sports arena, especially zooming into Nigeria. He's a sports psychologist. He is an educationist, and he's also an author. He is someone who is going to be telling us a bit about what the next stage of his life is all about. I mean, we're going to delve into that quite much later in the program. But join me in welcoming our special guest tonight, Professor Oluwaseun Omotayo. Professor Oluwaseun Omotayo is a foremost sports psychologist in Nigeria. He has some very interesting story, obviously, that he's going to be sharing with us today. Stories regarding the Super Eagles. That's what the Nigerian national team is called, the senior national team. And obviously, it's a journey towards in sports, education, and now the next journey is taking on, which is retirement. Welcome, Professor Oluwaseun Omotayo. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
Thank you, Prof.
Good evening.
Thank you,
Good
Prof.
evening.
Good evening. So, Prof,
Good evening.
before we go to what is going to happen on December the 5th, before we go into that, let's just talk about us as sports psychologists to start with. Your journey with Nigerian sports psychologists will probably actually started sometime in the late 80s. Could you tell us why you decided to take on why you now decided to take on the role of a sports psychologist, starting with, I think it was with the Flying Eagles that time, before you went Shooting Star Sports Club?
Thank you very much. I was just a postgraduate student pursuing my PhD when the Sports Psychology Association of Nigeria approached me in Ibadan to go and join the Flying Eagles that were preparing for the Saudi 89 Under-20 World Cup. And that was approved by the head of department then, Professor Ademola Adedeji, may he rest in peace now, and my supervisor, Professor A.S. Sohi, because they saw it as a form of internship for me. So that was how I got my first baptism as a practicing sports psychologist at that level, at the national level, which now turned out to be an international affair.
Tell us what the experience was with the Super Eagles. There's a certain game, for the Flying Eagles actually, and there was a certain game for the Flying Eagles we thought it was all over for the Flying Eagles, and something turned around, and it was called the Miracle of the Man. Okay, no, we will never forget that. I remember the great Ernest Okonkwo, who always say, especially when we had Christopher Ohehe, I was like, oh, is he going to be an Ohehe there? You know, with the shot and boom. Tell us what was behind that miracle. I mean, if you relieve that day for us, please.
I think I sum it up on the fact that the NFF at that time, that is NFA, were very serious about not breaking the chain of team preparation for any competition. Because if you look at what they call the sports medicine team, it's usually, it has the medical doctor, the physiotherapist, then you have the nutritionist, and you also have the psychologist. And don't forget the exercise physiologist. So that is one team that in the history of Nigeria that I know, we are taking through all the phases of team preparation. Because even to determine the physical fitness of that team, the totality of the number of boys in that camp were taken to the exercise physiology laboratory of University of Ibadan. where late now Professor Amusa and also my professor, Professor Ibanugo, took a baseline fitness level of those athletes, I mean the footballers, and now gave advice to the physical fitness trainer as to what to do to make the boys fit. So at the level of that fitness was also psychological fitness. Don't forget that I was now in that camp with the Flying Eagles for 13 months. We were working together and we were able to continue to build confidence over a long time, to build resilience over a long time. So when the time came for resilience to come up, that was what happened when we were 4 goals down, and the boys were resilient to come up to 4-4. And we were able to achieve what today is one of the biggest comeback in FIFA football history at that level. So it's about resilience built over months of psychological training, psychological management of the boys in camp, making sure that all distractions are reduced and the boys are made to always be enthusiastic in wanting to train, break new ground. Because there's something we call performance rejuvenation. You have to apply it several times in a particular team, which we were able to apply with the cooperation of the coaches then, Coach Tunde Disu and late Mechioli. We all cooperated together and were able to build a mentality among the players in which they don't want to see anything other than victory. So over the years, over the months, we were able to apply all the psychological therapies and management that is necessary to have a team to play in their psychological moment. Because most of the time our boys they played in their psychological moment. And this was achieved over a period of 13 months.
Thank you.
So, yeah, can you hear me now, Prof? Hello, Prof.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, yeah. So, sorry about that. So, I was just saying that we were at home. I sat down at home. We were watching our TVs. 4 goes down. Some people were already turning off their TVs. I remember I was watching the game with my dad that day, and my dad was like, "Oh, you want to better 4-0. How are we going to win this game now? How are we going to win this game now?" And then it was 4-1, and it was 4-2, 4-3, 4-4. People like us, we didn't know what's going on behind the screen, especially behind the team, with you and your team of experts, so to say. We didn't know what was going on, but what exactly, at what point, I know you spent about 13 months with these players, but at what point in time, at that particular time, did these boys say, you know what, guys, we're not going to lose this game. We just have to go out there and establish or probably put into practice everything the Prof has taught us. Let's just go out there and just exhibit it. At what point did that happen?
You see, I in my last response to your question, I spoke about so many levels of preparation, and one of it was that it was to lead actually to confidence building and resilience. But there are certain things that go for you situationally, because there's what they call on-field cycling process. And luckily, the stadium in Dammam was a very small stadium that the distance between us and the team is not much. So it was easy to do what we call on-site cycling. And most of the time when the ball comes out, any of the player that comes near you, you are able to now just put in one word. And those words you are putting in, we are only effective because we have had 13 months of relationship in which we have spoken to ourselves about situations in the field, all possible situations on the field, and what reaction to put on. So when you just say one word, 18, they know the meaning of 18. No, nobody dies. Nobody dies working hard. They know the meaning. You understand? The color green, white, green. You don't wear it and come last. They know the meaning. Some of these are becoming. It's just like when we were in University of Ibadan. Our colors then was yellow and indigo. We always tell ourselves, you don't wear Ibadan jersey and go and come last in a race. So these things have been built in these boys over the month. So when you just mention it, they can recall it and know the meaning. Then they know what to do. So the on-site cycling was very possible because of the size of the stadium that did not take the technical crew far too away from the players. But again, there are other issues of the skill of the boys. Maybe some errors made on the parts of those are technical errors, though, which now paid up for flying eagles. But the point is that on the psychological point of view, we were able to build resilience over the months, and we have our code to fire ourselves up. So all we needed to be was to be sending those codes little by little each time you have the opportunity. Some of the time, if you call one name Unduka, nobody knows the meaning of when you say Unduka as at that time, because they know who Unduka is and they know the meaning of Unduka or Dimeji, all those ways. So we had been so close that when we give our sign, we know the meaning of that, and people they were able to decode it. And luckily, the goals kept coming until we were able to now get to the 4-4 situation and eventually defeated the Russians of penalties.
Prof, how did the boys accepted you? How did they accept you in the first instance? I mean, this was something alien to them as at that time, sports psychology. They didn't have it in their clubs. They probably would have heard about it, but they probably wouldn't have experienced it at the beginning, at the onset, in the first month of your 13th month. I mean, 13 months with them. How did they accept you that first time when you came in and said, "Guys, I'm your new sports psychologist, so this is what we're going to be doing"? Did it feel alien to them, or were they like, "Okay, yeah, come on, let's do it"?
Well, it's not about the boys accepting, because there are ways by which, as a psychologist, you warm yourself up to the heart of the players or any athlete or sportsman. But most importantly, the acceptance to me goes to the coach, the chief coach, Coach Tunde Disu, who actually saw the essence of psychology in the management of any team. And once I came, he was the first person that accepted me. And with the acceptance of the coach, it was easy to warm myself to the heart of the players. So I think I will give it more to Coach Tunde Disu and Coach Kelechi Emetiole, and also to the boys too, who were ready to learn. But because if the coach, who is the head of the contingent, as it were, is not receptive of a particular aspect of training, it's really going to be difficult for anybody to come and to say you want to do anything. For instance, if Coach Tunde Disu did not accept that, let's take these boys to the lab, there's no way I will take the boys to the lab. You understand? If he did not accept some of the things, I will say, "Oh, coach, today, don't let us train. Let us just play with the boys and go." I won't be able to achieve all of those. So I think I give the whole kudos to Coach Tunde Disu, who proved to be a modern coach that understands all that it takes for one to build a team.
And obviously, you also went to the World Cup the first time Nigeria went to qualify for the World Cup in 1994. What was the experience like that time?
Unfortunately, I was not in that 1994 World Cup. I was not there.
Okay.
Because the unfortunate thing was that as soon as we had the Saudi 89, it's unfortunate. Then after that Saudi 89 affair, it was like the NFF wouldn't want to see anything psychology around NFF until we were able to make a case for another psychologist to be brought to the NFF in the name of Robinson Okosun at that level.
Yeah.
You understand? Yes. Until then, until 89, I think around during the All African Games, while I was away, I made a case for psychologists for NFF, and I think before I came back, they appointed late Samson Lanode as the under-23 psychologist who died unfortunately in a motor accident. After that, NFF was like, they didn't even want to know anything psychology until we wrote that there is need for one. And when Dr. Tijani Yusuf was Secretary General, I think he saw our point of view and appointed Robinson Okosun as the psychologist in the Super Eagles. So in 1994, I was not there. And as at that time, I don't think there was anything like psychology in the Super Eagles.
Okay. Thank you for making that correction for us, Prof. All Africa Games in Kenya, in Nairobi, Kenya.
That
was another pinnacle for the Nigerian contingent.
All African Games in Nairobi, Kenya was a situation in which I had to work with who I always refer to as my first boss in life. And about, as far as I'm concerned, the best track and field coach ever produced in Nigeria, Chief Seapo Benny. I worked under him as a coach in the University of Ibadan. And while I must confess I was not too technically sound, but I was psychologically trained to work with athletes. And with his guidance, I picked more in the technical aspects, but he gave a whole lot of psychological work to me, because there was something very important that he wanted to achieve. He said he wanted to achieve the fact that he wanted an athlete to win 6 or 7 gold medals in one track meet with the Nuga Games track event. And I wondered how he was going to achieve that. He said I should just bother myself about motivating that athlete, that I should leave into the technical aspect. And we were able to achieve that with Caroline YJ, who won the 100 meters, 200, 4x4, 4x100, long jump, and the high jump for University of Ibadan at that time. So he was now called to the national camp, preparatory for the All African Games in Nairobi, Kenya. And he was the one actually that took me along. It was not Nigeria that appointed me. It was Coach Pobede that said, Sean, that's what he calls me, Sean, you have to come along with me to come and assist me in this work. And we were able to, at least the synergy from UI small experience now went to the national level. We were together throughout the preparatory stage, and he was able to unleash the same technicalities on the contingent then, and the rest is history today. So, positive history, so to say.
And so far, you've been more like in the taking the back seat, okay, as far as sports is concerned. When I say taking the back seat, not completely washing your hands out of sports in Nigeria, but you're not really directly involved with sports psychologists as far as the national teams are concerned. We recently had a game in Ogbe Stadium, the Super Eagles against Sierra Leone. We were leading this time around. It was a table turn against us. This is like to the Sierra Leoneans that it was a miracle of Benin, not the Daman miracle. So they were leading 4-0, and they equalized, and it was 4-4. So from your experience and as an expert, okay, psychologist, you've done wonders internationally. Well, as a part of the team, what did you think went wrong with the players that day? I mean, you were leading 4-0 and you just lost concentration, and let a tiny Sierra Leone score 4 goals against you and ended the game 4-4. So what would you say happened psychologically to the players that time? Was it a psychological issue, or was it just pure technical problem?
Well, I must first of all confess that one of the biggest shocks I received in my life watching football is that result with Sierra Leone. Because I've always asked myself, if Nigeria wants to, coincidentally I was on the same seat when that match was on, and I had other things doing on my system. My colleague too went, by the time Nigeria scored 4 goals, I felt, well, let me just spend my time catching up with hours that I've lost on my computer. So when my colleague came back at about 8 o'clock in the evening to just say hello to me, and he said, "Oh, how did it end?" I said it must have ended around 8 something. He said, and they just showed other channels or something like that, and I saw 4-4. I was shocked. I was shocked. And if you notice, I've really not made any comments on that match as it were. The only comment I made was when people were criticizing the Minister of Sports for going to train with the players, and they said what the minister did was wrong. I said, no. What the minister went to do is he has only gone to play the role of a positive, significant order. And he's supposed to have fired the team up for them to be able to play the manner in which they played in the first 30 minutes.
Mm.
In the manner in which they played in the first, so the presence of the minister, to me, lasted only 30 minutes. That is the way I look at it. But beyond that, it shows a team, yes, it shows a team that has no character. It shows a team that you cannot easily modify their behavior. And it shows a team that is just an assemblage of players who, because I have seen the match over and over again, and I can tell you that that team, they don't understand the colors of the field. If they understand the colors of the field, they will know the behavior to put on at certain stages on the field. If our team knows the colors of the field, the green zone, the yellow zone, and the red zone, then all our players, including goalkeeper and so on, including the coach, we know when to shout instructions when people are getting into your red zone.
Mm.
So that is the way I look. It's a team that has no character, and it shows that over the years, there has been a break in the chain of team preparation. Over the years, there has been a break in the chain of team preparation because the chain of team preparation allows for psychological preparation. And psychological preparation is such that cannot be achieved overnight. It's something that you have to achieve. You could have a 6 weeks package for a particular team. You could also have a 4-week package for a particular team so that your on-site cycling will be effective. And there is a way Nigeria can achieve that. It is unfortunate that up to now, Nigeria still don't know the essence of winning mentality for the team. And I think, I don't know why there is a Dr. Robinson Okosan in the NFF. I don't, maybe he's no longer in the employment. I don't know why they cannot make him to start doing his job as a secretary. And how can they achieve that? Somebody can say they come in 2 weeks' time, fine. If they come in 2 weeks' time, the coach already knows who is going to invite to the national team. And they can make the contacts of these players available to the psychologists who can now start his psychological management of those players even before they come and do what they call face-to-face. Because psychology has allowed that. In these days of COVID-19, everything has gone so virtual that a lot of things are now done virtually. So even if the boys have stayed in camp, they have come to do what they call face-to-face in 2 weeks. The coach must have had in his mind the possible players that are coming to camp, make it available to the psychologists who can then virtually start engaging them for the task ahead. So that by the time they come, they do the face-to-face, and then on-site cycling will be easy. So what I saw there is that it is a team that were assisted by the minister's visit for up to 30 minutes that they scored. I must confess to you, I still commend the minister for that. You can imagine if the minister did not visit, the level from which they would have started playing, you can imagine it. And again, yes, and after they started having the goal, they were unable to identify the colors of the field to know that their opponents are also entering their red zone as often as possible. So it shows a team that has no character. And to solve that in future, I think the solution is for us to now come up with what they call cyber psychologizing of Nigerian teams, whereby the coach will now have to work with the psychologists so that they start bringing them, because every team, every match has a situation, and you have to build yourself up to that situation. So I think with that, maybe NFF or whoever is in charge of the national team, we take a cue from that and ensure that we don't end our preparation for any competition at the technical level. It should be psychological level is also very important.
Thanks for that, Prof.
Particularly when we have a seemingly foreign team, because most of the people playing for Nigeria, they are in quotes, they are not Nigerians. So we need to bring them down to the level. Yes, in quotes, they are not Nigerians. So we need to put them, because nowadays not too many Nigerians can mention who is playing for Nigeria. So usually it's just an assemblage of players. So that is the reason why we need to now make use of psychological preparation more than even the technical preparation. Because if you don't know, if you are not technically sound in the first instance, you are not going to be, you shouldn't be qualified to play for the Super Eagles, because it's not a training ground. It's a place where you implement what you know. So the only thing that can be affected at that stage is your mentality, and that is where the psychology comes in. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that explanation, Prof. Prof, there's another school of thought that actually said, okay, that if the fans, Media Stadium was filled with fans that day, what happened wouldn't have happened. Is there a correlation between fans psyching players? Is that a correlation there? I mean, without a field packed Media Stadium, the players were not more like, and without obviously psychologists there with them, they were not able to raise their level of football. So with a psychologist there and a packed stadium, would that have made a difference at all?
Well, there's what they call the psychology of crowd behavior, and the way it works, because you are talking of, there's a difference between fans and spectators. The Super Eagles of Nigeria, as it were, only have spectators. They don't have fans. Oh yes, it was in the days of Segun Odegbami, Alonso Satuegbu, Mudalawal, and so on, that you can say Super Christian Chukwu or Kala, Blessed Ogedegbo, blessed memory. That you can be Felix Owolabi, that you can say Super Eagles had fans. Yes, many of us, we follow Super Eagles to anywhere to see them, not because we wanted to see Super Eagles. We wanted to see Segun Odegbami play, see Kunle Awesu play, and so on. So the Super Eagles of today, unfortunately, have no fans. They are spectators. You understand? So the best that would have happened on that type of a day, that the Super Eagles played the way they played, would have been a disaster in the stadium, because the spectators would have unleashed terror on the players, and it would have been something. But yes, so in this class, that it were, the issue of fans comes up when we are able to build a Super Eagles that have its own fans, not spectators, because there are people that go and watch football anyway, but there are people that go to see certain players on the field. Those are the fans. And I don't think Super Eagles of today has fans. They have spectators, people that want to see football. If they play well, fine, they will clap for them. If they don't play well, they'll be unhappy with them. But if I'm your fan, the day you don't play well, I will accept it that is just the situation. But as a spectator, I'm not going to take it as a situation. So what I will advise Nigeria to do now is to build a Super Eagles that has fans. So that when you now have those fans in the stadium, they will be vociferous and know how to collectively even intimidate the opponents. Exactly. But we don't have that kind of organization as we speak now. I think the only man that was achieving that for Nigeria, and I don't know how far he has gone, is Chief Dr. Ladipo, who has that put together the supporters club for the Super Eagles. But I now think that beyond that now, the supporters club is now a sports supporters club, not Nigerian Green Eagles supporters club. But Dr. Ladipo was one person that was building the fan base for our national teams. Even he did the same thing for Shooting Stars for so many years. So unless we're able to come back to those days, so that even the players will be playing to the beat and drums of the of the fans. Then that's where you can say fan has effect. But when spectators are on the field, spectators dey only spectate. You understand? Like I was telling a young man that stays with me here, that in those days when we just see Felix Owolabi warm up, if he didn't start a game, we know what to start saying as fans and supporters of shooting stars. And usually, as soon as Owolabi gets into the field, he's going to score a goal because we are sending the message to him. He knows these fans are there. He must not disappoint them. So we need to build the Super Eagles of fans, not Super Eagles of spectators.
And I must collaborate what you said just now, Prof. Because I remember when back in the days when we used to watch the Super Eagles at national stadiums, really, and when Super Eagles are playing and there are no goals coming, and we hear the supporters club start shouting, "Oh, we are saying," and we know there's whatever, however we like it, whether we like it or not, there's going to be a goal. There was going to be a goal that will obviously come from anywhere, from anywhere.
Yeah, that is like what they call a crowd inoculation. We call it crowd inoculation. Yes, if the fans are there, they know you. Some of us fans, we go to see them in training. They know us, we know each other. They may not know us in person, but they know that there are a group of small people that come to admire them. They know some of the songs that you sing. So you call it a crowd inoculation. By the time you start saying that, then the spirit comes. Everybody will now get involved. I remember so many years ago, even though I haven't studied psychology then, Chief Leko Salami in the stadium will say, ẹ bá mi pè wọ́n, ẹ bá mi pè wọ́n. Yes, and the man will start shooting, everybody will start, the ghost will come. You understand? So these are some of the things that we need to go back to. Let us go back to that tradition of fandom, where we have fans rather than spectators on the field, particularly when it concerns our national team. Don't forget that that's the only time that all Nigerians speak with one voice.
True. We're going to go on a quick short break now, Prof. And when we come back, we're going to talk about what's going to happen in Ibadan on December the 5th. Okay? So we'll go on a short break and we'll come back.
Thank you very much.
Good. Just stay there. Thank you for staying tuned. And we've been talking to Professor Seun Omotayo, famous Nigerian sports psychologist. He has taken us back on the memory lane. I mean, talking today with him and him talking about Chief Lekon Salami of blessed memories and the Super Eagles. Back then, we used to call them the Green Eagles of yesteryears. I mean, it's brought back so many warm memories, which is really, really good. So, Prof, we are going. You got something lined up for December the 5th, and it is something really there to your mind. It's the Oluwaseun Omotayo Foundation, and it is a diamond milestone lecture. So it's going to be your. It's a day of many activities. So it's going to be your 60th birthday. I don't know if it's going to be your 60th birthday or you're already 60. It's going to be your 30th year of academic activities, and also you are presenting a book. Could you please, Prof, tell us about these milestones? I mean, we like before we go on here today, I was chatting to you. I said the last time I saw you personally was about 2004, 2005 in Edgeway Road with Otumba Gbenga Daniel. It's been a long time. It's been a long time, Prof. So tell us about what is going on in the University of Ibadan on the 5th of December. It is where it all started, anyway.
Thank you very much for bringing up the 5th of December 2020 3-in-1 celebration. I was able to know that it's 3-in-1 celebration when I started seeing newspaper reports that Ibadan is agog for Professor Omotayo as he says for a 3-in-1 celebration. 3-in-1 because I'm 60 and again it's also 30 years that I've been in academics.
Prof, let me cut you short there before you go on. You don't look 60 at all.
Thank you very much for that. But I think I've tried to wear some white beards in order for me to at least
we
to be.
got some 40 years old that wear it now, even some 30 years old.
Thank you very much for that compliment. So it's going to happen on that day, and it's a celebration that has been put together mainly by my parents' foundation. And I think I must say that it's my siblings that have actually come together to wish to celebrate me. And also my students, because soon after the announcement came out, many of my students, who coincidentally by the grace of God are also now professors, joined in the fray. And it is like my family, my students, and my friends really, because behind the scene, I can imagine the number of my friends that are already warming up for that day. So, but the milestone lecture talks more about who Professor Seun Omotayo is and what he has been able to do, apart from ensuring that we are able as a professor, because coincidentally as a professor, you are an institution. You are an institution in the sense that by that time you should be able to say with some deep sense of responsibility what you profess. You pontificate the field that you know best. In some other climes, when there are problems in the nation, they call on the professors for solutions. So it's also an opportunity for me to come up with certain solutions of my research in the last 30 years that could be beneficial to sustainable sports development in Nigeria. So I expect a day where my friends, my students, my family, and the well-wishers come together to celebrate me and also are able to listen to what I've been able to do to deserve the celebration. And coincidentally, my very good friend, brother, and let me say sports business partner, Mr. Femi Abioye, also now chose that date as the day for public presentation of my book, in which we articulated, we cataloged performances of track and field athletes in Africa. And you know that when it comes to issue of track and field in Africa, Nigeria is a major stake holder. So the book, more than anything else, also catalog Nigerian athletes in the past and in the present. So that is what the 5th of December is all about.
Thank you so much for that insight into it. I mean, it's thoroughly deserved, Professor, because you are not just we don't see you as just a sports psychologist. We see you as a thorough professional in your job, an expert in your job, and we still, obviously, just like you mentioned, when countries are in problem, who did they turn to? The intellectuals. So
Yes.
we know definitely that we still need your wealth of experience in Nigeria, not just in athletics, in football now, and obviously in every sphere of life, not just in sports, but every sphere of life. And we want to wish you all the very best for the book launch on the 5th of December. We hope everything goes to plan and goes well. And obviously, we'll be following. And soon again, we will bringing you in to discuss how the book launch went and what you've got to offer, what more you've got to offer this great country called Nigeria. And just before I go, before I let you go, Prof, if you people watching saw a picture of the Prof and a certain lady that is also very well known in Nigeria. So that's Falila Tobunkoya. And obviously, that's the better half, the second one, the other half. Don't let me say the better half now. I don't want to sound the other half of our diaspora. Except you want to say something about that, Prof. You want to correct me.
Oh, of course, I'm proud of her. Up to tomorrow, she holds the African record in
Oh
400
yes.
meters
Mhm.
since 1996, and she's a member of the Order of the Niger. So any man will be proud of a woman of that performance, particularly at the Olympics. So thank you very much for the compliment.
Thank you so much, Prof, for coming on the program. We've had comments from people. Everyone saying, please enjoy your day on the 5th of December. Boateng Benjamin Bright says, it's good to see you, Professor Motayo, on tonight's show. Because Professor Motayo is also a lecturer in Ghana. Okay, so he's got quite a lot of fans in Ghana.
Please
Not just
let me
Nigeria.
make a quick correction. Let me make a quick correction. I am of the University of Health and Allied Sciences in
Yes.
the School of Sports and Exercise Medicine, not in University
Okay.
of Education Winneba. I was in
Okay.
Winneba way back 2012. Currently, I'm in the University of Health and Allied Sciences, Ho, in the Volta region of Ghana, where we are
Okay.
building a new school of sports and exercise medicine, first of its kind in Africa.
That's a shame because we were thinking that would be done in Nigeria. But anyways, we Nigerians and Ghana are cousins, our brothers and sisters. So we would not only lay claim to Professor Motayo, the Ghanaians obviously will lay claim to you too. But he's our son anyway. We can lend you to Ghana. We'll lend you to Ghana for a while and we'll bring you back home. Thank you so much, Prof. It's so nice to see you today again. I mean, after all those years, 16 years now, the last time I saw you. Hopefully, we get to see you again face to face. And we will be conducting this interview the next time face to face, probably somewhere, and to showcase what's been happening again. Thank you so much, Prof, for your time today and for coming on the show.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me. My regards to Yomi.
Thank you so much, Prof.
Wole, thank you. Thank you,
Thank you so
Wole.
much, Prof. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. So we're going to go on a
Bye-bye.
short break, and when we come back, we're going to be talking about finances today. I mean, there's so much going on around the world at this climate. I mean, people struggling and what have you. So we're going to go a friend of the show, who's going to he's a financial advisor. He's going to be talking to us about finances. Okay, we're going to take a quick break and bring him on the show so we can talk about finance. So, welcome back to the show. So, please, if you're watching the show for the first time, I know quite a lot of people are watching the show for the first time. We can see your comments on there. Please don't forget to subscribe to the show. Okay, don't leave the comment section without subscribing to the show. All right. So, if you keep subscribing, you're encouraging us, and we always try as much as possible to bring to you people of note, people that obviously will make your Sunday night as easygoing, as enjoyable as the last guest, that's Professor Omotayo. So make sure you subscribe, and don't just subscribe, tell somebody about this show, okay? Make us grow. All right. Thank you. So I've got my friend Bayo Ogunbesan, who is a financial advisor, is joining me to talk a little bit about finance today. Bayo, thank you so much for your time and for coming on the show. It's so nice to be with you today. It's so nice for you to join us. Again, it's been a while since I saw you, but thank you for coming to the program.
Thank you very much for having me.
So Bayo, tell me, why do people have to worry about their finances at this time? I mean, COVID-19 is destroys quite a lot. Companies are laying off staff. Economies in recession, not just in the UK where we are, in Africa, in Nigeria, everywhere. So why do we need to worry about finance now? One, and what do you think? What's your advice to people on how to watch their finances, especially at this critical time?
Well, yeah, it is tough times. Nobody envisaged this coming. Nobody envisaged this situation. But like everything in life, it's always good to plan. And I think one of the things I've noticed about our people is we're not very good at planning.
Mm.
You remember, Wole, that old adage, you have to plan for a rainy day.
Mm.
So it's imperative to always, they said if you look after is it the pound, the pennies will look after themselves. So I
Yeah.
think it's yeah, obviously it's challenging times, but one of the things you have to look at is how to offset the challenges. And what we have in place now, if you look at the government, look at everywhere around us. Arcadia Group the other day, a lot of companies are facing. We have to be careful what words we use. We don't want to use negative words. So a lot of companies, and the government itself, is trying to find a way to manage the situation, not knowing what lies ahead. So that's why people are a bit apprehensive right now, trying to make sure they're keeping, even though it's Black Friday, Black Friday started on Friday. It's not taking off as most people would want it to take off. So the most important thing for everyone right now is to, like Jack Ma said, is to see out 2020 alive. If you can see 2020 out, the prospect for 2021 will be more, hopefully better than 2020 has been.
Yeah, we seem to be having quite a few problems with connection there, Bayo, if you can hear me. But now, hopefully, 2020, we'll be saying 20 bye bye to 2020 very soon, because it's been a year full of many downs. Although there have been some hops, definitely, especially towards the end of this year now. We are seeing COVID vaccinations being approved, being developed and approved. So hopefully, we're looking at towards 2021 to bring us more fortune and probably more good within our finances. Tell us what the outlook it is for 2021. What should we be looking out for, especially those people that are out of work at the moment and they're thinking, what should I do? How should I plan my finances? The little I've got at the moment, how should I plan it for the new year? I mean, I might not be able to shop this Black Friday that's gone or still ongoing, because you get quite a lot of marketing emails in your inbox. Even though Black Friday is already gone, they're still saying to you, it's not gone, but we still got more to. So what should we be looking at? How should we be planning our finances? And given the fact that, well, we do accept that we don't usually plan when it comes to finances, but what should we be doing really as the new year approaches?
We have to take into account everybody's financial situation is different. Where are you? Have you got a mortgage? I mean, the government just gave you the stamp duty. So the stamp duty is 500,000. Yeah, up to 500,000. You've got no stamp duty. The government was anticipating the situation getting better sooner than it is as the situation is now. So right now, it's even the Chancellor of the Exchequer, his hands are tied because he and Boris, they're not on the same page. Boris wants to go this way, the Chancellor of the Exchequer wants to go that way. So they've got like a budget hole of over 400 billion, putting people on furlough, which is still not enough. Some people are just getting 80% of their salary. The companies are having to make adjustments in order to try to offset this problem. But the key thing is where that individual is. And that's why you see a lot of people are holding on to the little they have. It's all right to say you should put money in emerging funds or put a certain amount of money every month. The thing is, you have to be able to put your money in an account that can yield you profits. But right now, the most important thing for you is, like I said, Jack Ma said, the Chinese guy, to see out this year. What we're focusing a lot on now is trying to help, like we in our department, the insurance and mortgages. We do a lot of where we have COVID-related cases. Well, we have a lot of COVID-related cases, and mortgages is gone up. People are taking out more. The loan aspect, there's not a lot of loans to give to people. But if you remember the loan the government gave it not too long ago, the 50,000. What's the loan called again? Remember when they were giving people with companies 50,000? You haven't got an access to a lot of personal loans yet. But the fact of the matter is to see 2020 out. Well, if you're like we have to take account. What about the companies? You're working from home. What about those companies that are not letting, they're still paying the rent for those office spaces? So it's a dire one for right now. It's a dire one. But I wanted to talk a lot to people as well about the insurance aspect, where we find out that a lot of Nigerians and Africans are not insured. And they have the means, especially in a climate like this, to take insurance policies out to offset any problem that might arise. Be it life cover, critical illness, income protection, business cover. And I think it's important that we take the opportunity living here and participate as a member of the community, where we're not praying for the worst to happen, but when you're covered, if anything were to happen, at least the family and loved ones that you've left behind have something to fall back on, and you'll be able to give the departed a befitting burial.
You mentioned this because I think about a few episodes ago, we had DJ Abbas come on the show and spoke about life insurance too, and that the fact that quite a lot of Nigerians don't usually take it for granted. They don't want to talk about life insurance. Why do you think this is so? I mean, it's something that at the end of the day, if you put into it, and now we're not making adverts for any life insurance companies, by the way, but it's something that when you put into it, if anything happens, we always say God forbid, but if things happen, it happens. You're leaving something for people behind to come, you're leaving a sum behind for people, especially if you're the breadwinner of the family, to hold on to. Why is it that people don't care about, especially people of Nigerian origin, African origin, don't think about this? They don't really care about life insurance.
And that's the thing, I remember there was an episode that happened about 8 months ago, 7 months. A lot of people of Black origin African Americans were being killed by white police in America. And then someone said, if these African Americans had life insurance, they will be compelled to think carefully before they kill anyone, because it's going to cost vast amount of revenue to the insurance company. Likewise, it's going to come up down to the economy. Now, the thing is, it's a mindset. Well, it's just basically a mindset. I've heard people say, well, if they depart this world, the children will be looked after by the Lord. Some people are of the opinion that I'm a Christian, the Lord is the one looking after me. So it's all a mindset, but they have the opportunity for them to make sure that, because what we can provide you, the family of the loved ones, is that within 2 weeks, payment is made. Within 2 weeks, even the body could still be in the morgue, and they receive payment. And some people have met. They said, "Oh, I don't want any WhatsApp group. I don't want to create any GoFundMe WhatsApp group in order to take care of the funeral. They just want that money left behind so that the wife, the children will have something to start their life, will have something to work with." Imagine funeral cost is gone up as well as everything else. So a normal funeral, and a lot of African people of African origin, they feel, depending on the age, it's a befitting burial. This, that, it's coming up to about 20,000-30,000 pounds. So if you get money paid out, which is what they do, because it's put in a trust, we put it in such a way that the minute the departed is, we notify the insurance company, we've got proof of death certificate, the money is released within 2 weeks. So even the body is still in the morgue, the family, and then you've got the other aspect of the critical illness. Sometimes it's hereditary for people's families, where they are susceptible to heart attack, all the major illnesses. And if you prevent yourself, even if you've not shown any symptoms, the probability, because of the lifestyle a lot of us live, the probability exists. Well, because we have to change our mindset, this is one thing we need to do. We need to keep drumming it in people's mind, in people's space, for them to understand the merits of having it. Especially in the situation of income protection. In COVID, there are companies paying out to individuals who have been exposed to COVID. Yeah.
Well, I think we'll have to leave it there because we're actually running out of time now, Bayo. Thank you so much for joining us. We probably will call you on again to talk more about this insurance issue and why.
To help our people. Yeah, it would be nice to help our people, and then we can keep pushing. We're working together to help the people become more, to take care of their life and loved ones. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Bayo, for coming on. Like I said, at some point again, we'll call you in. Obviously, we'll have a better connection so we can talk more about this because something really interesting and very important for our people, especially. Thank you so much, Bayo, for joining us on the show today.
Thank you very much.
So it's the end of the show again today. It's Sunday. We had Professor Seun Omotayo join us in the first segment of the program. Talking about his life as a sports psychology and obviously what he's going on the 5th of December. He's going to have a book launch, a 30-year review of his career, and also celebrating his 60th birthday. So thank you so much for everyone that's made contributions on the program today. I cannot read all your names, but Kwesi, Kennedy, Sandra, Expasa, Boateng, Benjamin, Ayo, Okundare, Kaizen, Adama, Seed. Thank you so much. Sorry if I didn't mention your name, just running out of time. Thank you so much for joining on the program. Please don't forget to subscribe on this show, and please join us next week Sunday, where we will hope to bring you someone again very interesting. Tomorrow is the football show. Join me also, and we'll be talking again football. So thank you for your time today. And if you like this program, please don't forget again, subscribe to it. And like all our past episodes, including this one you're watching. Thank you. Have a great week ahead. See you next week. Bye-bye.